All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of BopCast. Today, we have the team from Create Your Frequency, two good friends of mine that I recently just met. We got Ali and Shawn on the podcast today to explain their story, their business, their book, how they created this brand around Create Your Frequency. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. And if you want, let people know, who you are, intro yourselves if you could, and we're kind of, explain what you do, and we'll probably, backtrack and get into some background and, kind of see where the podcast goes from there. Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for having us, Sully. We're excited about this one. I know we rescheduled one time. We're finally here. So thanks for having us. Sully and I connected through a mastermind. We're part of several masterminds. A couple of weeks ago, we've been talking, providing value back and forth, when it comes to podcasting and this and that, back and forth. And then he told us about this idea, so we're like super excited to be on here. So, want to give an intro?
Yeah, I'll give a little intro. I guess I'll start with myself first. My name is Shawn Barani. I'm Ali's partner, co-author, partner in several businesses. I started off in the music industry, so I was an artist manager since I was 16 years old. Had a record label from age 16 to 22, 21. And then obviously dealing with some of the wrong people, making some bad business choices here and there, whatever. I believe in divine order. So, I found Ali, and the rest is history, man. So we'll kind of talk about how we met. But
yeah, I'll go into it for sure. I will go into it.
We both went through some rough patches and then kind of ended up finding each other. And it's been hitting the ground running ever since.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I was in corporate America for a couple of years right after college, and was trying to build a business. I tried to build a business, but I made the wrong decision picking partners. But through that partnership, I met Shawn. So he was actually a client for the old company I worked with, and I really liked what he was doing with his brand and his label and clothing line and the artist, the style of music, all that. So I reached out to him. We started working together, and then pretty much 3 or 4 months later, he said, "Hey, I wanted to let you know I got a better deal and with some people in LA." And I was like, "Look, that does sound like a better deal. Go for it." And so he went for it. And then a couple of weeks later, he called me and was like, "Yep, nope, never mind. Didn't go through. Lost all this money. I'm moving to Houston." He was in Miami at the time. He said, "I'm moving to Houston." I was like, "Well, come to the office." So we came to the office, talked. We chopped it up. We caught up. And then he's like, let's see what we can do. You still have this company, you still with these guys. And I was like, all right, let's make something happen. And then 2-3 weeks later, I called him like, well, never mind. Lost that one too. Bad business decision. Lost a lot of money. Lost pretty much the whole team that I built due to energy and picking the wrong partners. And long story, I'm not gonna get into that. But from that, the reason I called him, I was like, "Look, I'm not with this company anymore. If you want to go ahead and work with them, here's their contact information." He pretty much said, he said, "Fuck that." Oh, can we cuss? I'm not sure.
As much as you want.
Fuck that. He said, "Fuck that." So he said, "How do I work with you?" And I was like, "All right, well, let's meet up." And so we scheduled a meeting for, a week or two out. And then before the meeting, I called him one more time. One more piece of bad news. Like, "Hey, man, I got my car broken into, everything got stolen. Laptop, hard drives, monitors, everything's gone. I have to start from scratch." He's like, "Well, damn, come over, pull up to the house." So I pulled up and I'm walking, I got out of the car and he says, "Welcome, bro." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not even inside yet." He's like, "Welcome." He's like, "Nope, to the bottom. Like, there's only one way up from here." So from there, we joined forces and, we started, I was still in corporate America. So we started putting together a team for a project. We both like marketing. We both like design. We both like fashion. There's a lot of congruencies and synergies, right? And so then with that, I was moving to another apartment and he said, "Hey, I have an extra bedroom. Why don't you come live with me?" So then we became roommates, and now it was 24 hours. We were grinding, even though we had our, day jobs technically. He did e-commerce.
Yeah, it doesn't stop when you go home, man.
Right. So
that's the entrepreneur. That's the trade-off, right? The number one.
And so, but then as of a few months ago, maybe 6 or 7 months ago, he told, I was on the way home, still working corporate job. and I had a call with him, and he pretty much said, "Hey, green light, go ahead and quit." He's like, put your 2 weeks in. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, let's just stop making other people rich. Let's just do it for ourselves now. I was like, all right, pulled the trigger, put my 2 weeks in, and then we really scaled fast. Until then, we wrote this book every night, 10, 11 p.m. We put up the projector, and we wrote.
Yeah, I definitely want to, kind of go into that and go. That's crazy to kind of see or hear that trajectory of how you guys can, and like the ups and the downs and the getting your car, like that type of stuff, man. Like that, when you realize you're at rock bottom, like you had that self-awareness, like that's tough, man. Not everybody has that. And it's funny that you mentioned the music industry. I'm in it. I'm a rapper producer. I've been in it for years. I had really shitty managers, like done the whole, I've just done a lot of, seen my friends do those, hey, spend $3,000 to get you on the song with blah, blah, blah. I never hear about them again. Like, those, it happens every day. But I feel you, the music industry is ruthless. It sucks. A lot of it. A lot of people are assholes. They never call you back, tell you one thing and do something else. Right. But, so that's interesting parallel, between my story too and being in the music industry. But I want to take it back to, so we kind of have this trajectory of create your frequency and how you guys met. But talk about, if you could, how you actually started create your frequency. Like, did you come up with it together? And then, like you said, you were grinding these nights. When was the first day that you sat down? Like, how'd you know you want to create a book? Did it start with the name? Did it start with, we want to do something, but we don't know what it is? So I kind of would like to kind of dive into the background of create your frequency itself and like the details on that.
So it goes even further. I tell them about your first book idea.
So,
because Ali was a festival enthusiast. Right,
so I heard that on one of the lives, actually, Ali, that you were talking about. You were talking about going to...
Traveled a lot. Both Shawn and I both traveled a lot. He's been to 17 countries.
13 countries.
13 countries. So I've been to 7. So it ends up being like 20 countries between us. So we've traveled a lot, 40 states, a bunch of music festivals. So I wanted to write a book about how people from different cultures came together for the common theme of music. And that's why we both touched base. It was because of the music, right? But I told in college, I had an idea of writing this book. I wanted to, share my story of all these travels, this and that. So, every time I would be like, hey, I want to write a book, everyone's like, yeah, cool, man. That's cool. You're going to be an author. Great job. But, and I heard that 30, 40, 50 times, anytime, you share your vision, your dreams with somebody. So I told Shawn, he was like, all right, what are you waiting for? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, let's do it. Let's write this book. He's like, I have some notes. Let me see your notes. And so I only had notes compiled. I'm talking about my iPhone notes, like 50 or 60 different notes, just like writing, just stream of consciousness writing, just whatever I can think of, getting it on paper, right? Then when I shared with him my idea, he was like, go for it. And then he's like, let me show you my ideas. Let's talk about, it wasn't music anymore. Music was just a very small component of it. We talked about all the books that we've read, everything personal development, mindset, psychology, marketing, sales, time management.
I was big on those things, just manifesting and just, self-development, things like that. So when he told me the idea, I was just like, we got nothing to lose, bro. It was almost a guide for ourselves first, right? So it ended up becoming a playbook and a rule book that we had to follow. And then we ended up realizing that other people could use this and they can help.
Because when you write that down and put that into existence, right, then you can't not abide by it then.
Absolutely.
Right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. In our podcast, we always ask, like, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? And people answer it different ways. And then they ask us, hey, what would you tell yourself? We're like, we wrote this book to tell our 18-year-old selves. We wish we had this guide, So, the taglines, creating a mindset that creates ripples through your mind, body, and business. So we just talk about the mindset, the body, the health, and then the business as well, right?
So it transformed kind of from one idea of like kind of this music festivals, which is a really cool idea in itself. But when you guys came together and when Shawn got involved, then it was more of like, oh, this is like, why don't we talk about kind of what we need to do and like what we're building, and like so it all ties in.
What it takes to take your life.
That's what it is.
All the different components, right? And again, as a guide for ourselves. So we didn't want to look, all the stuff in the book we've learned from the best of the best, because we've watched them, we've studied them. All the main books you can think about, all the top 10 business books, all the way from 1937 Napoleon Hill, all the way to, you know, how to win friends and influence people in the digital age, like everything in between. We talk about
all the greats.
Yeah.
So it all comes from that knowledge, from previous knowledge put into our own words and our own format.
Of what works, because what works for me might not be what works for you. What works for you might not be what works for him. So we give a blueprint. You take what you want. If you can apply one thing per chapter, you'd be good. We even talk about stuff like impact theory and, you know, audiobooks and, you know, YouTube videos and conferences and seminars that you should attend to help your mind and body and, you know, your business taking it to the next level. So
that's funny that you guys say that too, because actually, like, I didn't know what I was going to do for this podcast, but it almost developed into the way that I started it was I was explaining books that I was reading. I was explaining Sapiens by Yuval Harari. I don't know if yeah. I mean, I love all of, you know, his work. I don't agree with everything he says, but the dude is probably one of the best, most accomplished historians in our society probably ever. But I started out reading that book. Then I made 2 hours of podcast on that book. And just going through like certain things, you know, the benefits of like rumors and like all these different assets of society or facets of society we don't think about. And then I was like, all right, I got to interview people. So I'm like, okay, how about I interview people who are doing things that most people don't do? And then I can learn from them, and then the audience can learn from them. And then I'll also still read all these books. And then kind of exactly what's happening now is like, now I'm interviewing the people that did all the research to write all the books and build the businesses and take that knowledge, you know, from you guys and transfer it to both our audiences. But so that is Create Your Frequency. That's the book you're describing, right?
Book, name of the book. We wanted to, we talked about different names, and what did we want to do? We wanted to create a legacy. Both of ours. So the company's called Principles LLC, Principles Creative. And then we have a real estate company called Kin Investments, Kin meaning family. So our principles, a lot of it has to do with teamwork, loyalty, you know, everyone moving together. It has to do with growth and innovation, having that high principle, high standard for yourself. So what did we want to do with the book? We wanted to create a legacy. And the word create, you know, for both of us, you're creating art, music, business, you know, creating instead of consuming, you know, so that's very important. And then frequency, we believed in manifestation and energy and vibrations. So we came up with Create Your Frequency, because what you're doing is creating a frequency. You know, when we're studying, example, when you're studying David Meltzer, he has a frequency up here and yours is down here. But when you study him, you're raising your frequency, trying to get to his level. And then after that, there's another one. There's always someone you can, you know, improve, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. You're always trying to.
Do you tie all those different things into it, or is it more mindset based than anything else, or is it kind of a little bit of everything? Or
it's a journey. We paint the picture. I'm gonna read you the chapter names, okay?
Yep.
So it'll give you an idea. By the way, here's the book. I'm gonna send you
awesome.
a copy.
And thank you, and I'll link it too below, and
perfect.
I'll push it out to all the listeners.
The best way to predict the future is to create it.
You got that.
Okay? So then, okay, I'll tell you. So it starts off with brainwaves. That's chapter 1, getting your brainwaves right, and talks about shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Then it talks about energy and motion. Energy and motion is the law of attraction, how to utilize energy and momentum. And then it talks about establishing harmony, which is making peace with your mind and your body, having that balance. The next chapter is mindful perception, which is about awareness of self and awareness of surroundings. How to, you know, some people, I'll give you an example. Some people are dealt bad cards. How do you play the cards you're dealt, you know? So being aware of your actions, other people's actions, how to maneuver through it. Then we talk about EQ and IQ, because a lot of people talk about IQ, but no one talks about EQ, emotional.
So right, man. They barely talk about IQ. God, they don't even understand. I don't think people know what either of those things are. They're just words.
Exactly. People don't even know what the Q means. So, you know, so we talk about that. So look at the picture is painted. It goes from your mindset to like technically awareness, using your energy. Then it talks about diving deep within, no excuses, how to take responsibility, not playing the victim mentality, taking responsibility, massive action. And then goes into, once you have that first part established, then we go into mind and body connection, you know, help, Like personally, we stopped doing a lot of things that don't benefit us.
Like what? Can you
smoking.
guys? Yeah.
Once in a while we smoke hookah, but that's about it. It was just one of those things. Stop drinking. Don't go
Alcohol.
out.
Yeah. So what is your you can keep going though. So I'll ask the questions after you go through the
Oh
chapter.
no. Actually, the way I always the way I learn, even like doing public speaking stuff. You have a question, interrupt me, because I don't want you to hold your questions to the end and it doesn't create an organic conversation.
I'm used to it on podcasts now, so it's actually like I try to hold them now because just to see how long I can. But I will in the inference of what you said. Yeah. So there's a lot of, I mean, even our friends in this mastermind and a lot of people that we know like smoke weed every day, drink maybe a beer or two at the end of the day, like people who work really hard and entrepreneurs and things like that. Like, how do you feel? I'm going to go into like kind of health and meditation, things like that too. But I wanted to start with like, just since you mentioned it, like, how do you feel about those? Do you look at them as vices, or do you look at them as like, alcohol is social lubricant, right? Maybe that'll help you talk to that guy who you're nervous to talk to or whatever. But like,
absolutely, I'm going to answer it because you have a good answer.
Yeah.
I think it's about how often you do it. I think everything should be done in moderation. Ever since we wrote the book, before we wrote the book, I smoked weed every day of my life for maybe 6 years before I wrote the book. Only at night, but every day. And ever since we wrote the book, like I said, got to follow my own rules. It was hard, and I still there's certain things I got to fix every day. I try to use the book every day. I'm still working on myself. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But now I do it on Sundays and only Sundays and only at night. And I make it a reward system for myself.
See, that's the reward I love. Yeah.
I guess you could say it is kind of advice for some people. I think once it becomes too consistent, when you start doing something every day, if you're working that hard while doing it, I always say, like, imagine yourself without it, right? Imagine somebody with a clear mind, somebody who's not doing these things. Like, you'll be so much better. And I feel like you'll progress even further.
Yeah, like whatever you think you're convincing yourself you need, take that away, then see what it's like without it, and then you realize you don't need it. And then like, oh, this is who I really am. Like,
absolutely. Or you could do it kind of how I do it, right? You make it a reward thing. Even with alcohol, right? Like, you do it once a week. You find a day on the weekend or whatever, and you kind of want to drink and get loose. That's cool. You should keep yourself clear throughout the week, especially while you're working throughout the week. Sundays usually we have his little brothers over throughout the day, so I'm kind of like in chill mode, hanging out. And then that night, when I have time to myself, I'll smoke and I'll enjoy it.
Exactly. And you'll take that time and you're not trying to do 5 other things. You're turning it off, turning everything else off. Now I can enjoy myself. That's where I think just a lot of people use it it's so easy to use it as an excuse, or something gets canceled and you're like, oh, I have this time now. And I love to go, I'd like to, also go into like time and kind of how you guys feel about that too. Cause that's something I'm really strong, or that I try to push on people. And even like, I try to explain it to my girlfriend of like, time is the most valuable thing that I have. Like, I don't care about anything else that I have, this microphone, my apartment, like I'm grateful for it all. But man, like, I'm like, she doesn't understand the amount of time that I block out for the things I have to do. Like, she's like, don't you have 3 hours there? I'm like, no, I have 3 hours to make my business plan right there, but not to do other things. But that comes down to the discipline. So I guess you guys are probably wrote something on discipline too, because you can't have any of this without discipline.
So look, this is the chapters, right? Mm-hmm. Student after mind and body connection, student of life. So we talk about always in learning mode, always absorbing knowledge. Nowadays, like 10 years ago, if you ask someone something and they're like, oh, I don't know, that's okay. They don't know it. That's not the person. Nowadays, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to go figure it out, and at least come back with some sort of answer. You know what I'm saying? Now we have knowledge at our fingertips. Like we have computers and these
no
things.
Excuses. No excuses.
No excuses at all. So that's why everything kind of ties in.
That was a chapter.
No excuses is a chapter. Yeah. So no excuses.
Good chapter. Then, I like that name. Yep.
So we then we go into systemization. Everything should have a system, just like he talked about. Reward system. That's his system. That
Habits.
Works for him. It may not work for you, but it works for him. So create a system that works for you. System for morning routine. System for vacation. System for finances. System for learning. All that. Everything has to be
systematized. Yeah.
It's not easy. It's all about consistency though. Once you do something for a long period of time, it just starts to become routine, and you'll start to realize how you feel and if you feel better and if it's working for you. Right? But consistency is key. And that's what's hard for people, right? Like somebody like Ali, I mean, is the hardest working guy I know. So he doesn't give, just like you said, time. I know he just went through a recent situation and about time with someone that he didn't have time for, and he realizes what's at stake and what his goals are, and it's just like that's what he's fighting for, man. And then that's until he gets there, he's not stopping. He's not giving that time to anyone else.
Can you speak on the power of like somebody, in your life trying to convince you, or like, I feel like when it comes to time, like going off of what you said, the people that love you the most should be the people that say, I understand why you have to go and do this with your time. And like, I understand why you're building this. Right. And like, or even I don't understand why you're building it, but I get that you have to do it. But so many times people will try to make you feel guilty. Oh, I know you're working. I know you're working. Like they'll say shit. And I'm like, yeah, I'm working. Like, I know you're not watching me. Sometimes I go take a break, but like, what do you think about, people in your life and like, and kind of framing that to the people you love, like trying to make them understand what you're doing? Have you ever had to do that?
I'll let you answer that question. I just want to say something before. Everybody in this household, there's 4 people in here, they understand what's at stake because they see it every day, right? They know what's going on. They know, our goals and what we're trying to accomplish. So they get it, but then somebody who's not with us every day might not get it.
So, I mean, it comes down to like parents and, siblings and stuff like that, because they were taught differently. Their goals were different. And now that we have this ability to, quit corporate jobs and, use the internet for advantage, people not doing the same thing might not understand. You can paint a picture for somebody, but if they don't understand what they're looking at, it's not going to matter. You can paint that picture. You can be the best storyteller. You can even show them, but hey, look, I did this, and here's a new car, here's a new house. But until that time happens, people might understand the grind. That's okay. That's not their journey. That's not their vision. So it's a balance between, understanding that not everyone will get it and being okay with that, and being able to balance and tune out that negativity, because it may not be like direct negativity. It might be those little comments that kind of, like you just mentioned. It's like, I know you're letting me do it, but you're not really getting it, but you're getting it, you know what I'm saying? So it's a case by case basis. But what you got to do is, man, the vision has to be so clear for you that there's no excuses. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gets in your way. You could lose a limb and it won't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like the only thing, like we talked about this the other day, it's like Corona, COVID caused everyone to stay at home and work and this and that. I was like, that's not an issue for me. It's not an issue because we do that anyway. Now, if the internet went out, that might be a problem. You know what I'm saying? But until then, nothing is getting in the way. We're going to continue. We try to make it work at home. Remember, no excuses. We do our workouts at home. Everything, morning routines are here. Interviews and meetings are done over Skype or Zoom or, Google Hangouts, whatever the case may be. If there's a will, there's a way.
Anything, we've been more productive.
Absolutely.
I didn't have a business before this. I have a business now.
There you go.
But hey, it's all timing too. But
I just missed the sauna and then some weight machines
and basketball.
Yeah, dude, I'm making a sauna in my shower and shit, just trying to like figure it out. Like, I'm like, damn, if I could just turn this hot enough, I just need some steam, get those heat shock proteins, man. Like,
exactly, that's what I'm trying to do too. Just turn my heat. I kind of do it cold at the end to like wake.
Me too. I do every shower's cold. I tried to do the day. I got a morning routine that's really good, but it doesn't involve cold showers. Some people are on that though. I've tried it.
I got to do it at least for like 20, 30 seconds at the end of my shower.
At the end, that's what I do too. Yep.
Start off really hot and like just warm my body up, kind of stretch in there a little bit, and then I end up turning it cold at the end just to kind of wake up.
People underestimate the body and the like how obviously I really like how a lot of modern business and like we're in this thing right now, like we're all the next future business leaders, right? And I love how we're coming up and encouraging the mind body connection, because there's so many, like, you see CEOs, you're like, oh, this guy's supposed to be like the highest level person, right? And they're like, 200 pounds overweight. It's like, how is their mind functioning properly then? Like, I'm just glad that that's like on a pedestal now, even if there's not a lot of unsafe things you can do, like health, to try to get more healthy. I'm just glad
there's always something you can do, And
exactly.
Like you mentioned all those components in the book. Like the whole point of this is being able to have that growth mindset. Some people are, scared of growth. Some people, they're not familiar with it, or they think it's always change. Look, change is going to happen no matter what. Shit's going to happen, that goes wrong. New instances. Think about the whole world had to adjust because of COVID, right? But growth is where you come out on top. Change is going to happen. Growth is optional. So you got to be able to like adapt. You got to be able to pick something up. You know, I think a lot of times people are now learning that you got to be able to learn another skill set or another income stream, because if something happens, you got to have a backup plan. But so just to summarize, the book is all about growth and creating a legacy for yourself, for everyone around you, being that, you know, having that mental clarity and just being able to maneuver yourself through this journey of life, you know. So
no, thank you.
For some people, it's just that one change.
One
like you
change.
said, like that guy who's 200 pounds overweight can have everything else figured out. He just got to get in the gym, you know, and he can level up tremendously, right? With that one change.
And in the preface, bro, we write that. We say, people, you know, the preface start. I'm gonna summarize it for you. You know, have you seen Sully? Have you seen like a sci-fi movie where they go into like the future and they're like, hey, don't touch anything. Like, don't touch anything, otherwise you're gonna mess up. Sequence. Yeah, you're gonna mess up the space-time continuum, right? And everyone's like super careful, right? That happens all the time. But people don't realize that now they can make that one little tweak that can completely change the future. And so if they make that tweak and they apply that little change, it can completely shift the trajectory of their life.
And stay consistent on that one thing, right? Being consistent.
Thank you for speaking on that and speaking on the book and explaining it for people. And obviously we're going to link it. I hope everybody goes out and buys it. I can't wait to read it myself.
We hit Amazon bestseller in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's crazy. We could go into that too, but I wanted to kind of go off like just something that I particularly feel very strongly about. For me, you say that one thing. For me, it was meditation. That was the first thing where I started to change my mindset, because I knew that I was going to make a shift and like start doing things differently and taking time differently and understanding my structure of my day differently and all of that before anything business-wise happened. But meditation was the first thing I started doing. Sam Harris guided meditation, 6:30 in the morning, every morning. Did that for 3 months. And that opened my mind up to the world of, you know, spirituality, meditation. But for you guys, was it like one habit that you acquired that kind of started it? And like, even if it wasn't, could you name a habit that you think people should try to pick up? Like, do you meditate? Like, what's your opinions on the morning routine? And was there anything that, you know, really helps you guys? Particularly for me, that's meditation, but it might be something different for you guys.
We've both added meditation. Shawn does his yoga and his breathing exercises every day. I have a form of meditation. So what we need to do is, the thing that was most important was actually having a routine in general, creating a structure at the end of the day where I'm preparing for the next day. And then every week I have my weekly agenda set out. Like, to be honest, okay, I'll summarize it. Using a planner. That was my one change. If I can summarize it in one thing, I just ordered another planner.
Digital? Do you do Google Calendar your whole day on Google Calendar too? Okay.
I have a Google Calendar.
Me too. I do both. I do physical. I do paper and digital.
And I have an executive assistant that helps me remind me of everything. So.
Okay, that's good too. Yeah, I bet that helps a little bit.
Yeah, we're running 3 companies, bro. We have a team of 10 plus now, so everyone's doing the role. So what was that thing for you, Shawn?
Like you said, meditation was key. I think just discipline, man, sacrifices, having to let that one thing go, right? Like for me, it was weed at that time. For me, like I felt like that was what's going to help me level up and being able to.
I mean, it could be cheeseburgers, right? Like for anybody, it could be anything. No, I'm really glad that you said that, because I feel like a lot of people have that one thing where it's like, wow, I would get 4 more hours a week or I just would have more energy if I didn't do that, or, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it made me, you know, I felt more inclined to stay up late, stuff like that, you know, make bad decisions, eat late, do these things that I wouldn't do if I was sober. You know, it's a lot easier to control when you're sober. So that's why I made that decision to make that change. And that was big for me.
So even like, think about this, right? Drinking was never a problem, but guess what happens when you go out once a week to socialize or whatever? You end up spending, at least we did, we ended up spending shitload of money, you know, every week.
And then how do you feel the next day? What happens the next day, right?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of snowballs.
You just blow your weekend too. It's like.
Absolutely. Then you got to eat bad to make up for it, and then you got to do all this stuff, and then But the biggest thing for me on that note, I would spend too much money. And then like once every 2-3 months, you go get sections and this and that.
Like I think when Ali was trying to really, we were both trying to stop drinking completely. We still had like, I guess another month or two where we still went out once or twice in that 2 months. And we felt it, bro. Like, because we were telling ourselves like, this is something that we shouldn't be doing. The weekend that we drank, that whole week would just be like, bad shit would just happen. All kinds of bad shit in our business and everything. We were just like, damn, bro, like, is this because of that? Is this because
It's how you do anything, right? It's how you do everything. That's really, that kind of goes, right? You set that tone.
Exactly. We were sending that energy out there because we know we're doing something wrong. And it's like that feeling when people just like a weed or eating anything. Like, it's like when you have that guilt, that's when the shit come bite you in the ass, right? When you have that guilt, it's like, it's going to come for you because it knows, right? It's like karma. Like, I always have this theory on karma. He doesn't necessarily agree with all of it, but that, we kind of call that stuff into our own lives by breaking our own rules. Like, if you do something and you feel bad about it, you'll get karma. And that's just how I feel, right? That's just me.
People have been trying to, I mean, I believe in it a little bit for sure, but there's people in my life that believe in it probably the same way that you do. And the more that I think about it, and then I think about the reactions to things that I've done, the more it seems like it's real. But so the way I look at it is like, even if it is, it's better. It doesn't matter if it is or isn't. It just matters that I take responsibility and I understand the next reactions or the reactions to what I do. But I'm glad that you spoke on that too, because that's something that's, it's kind of, your self-belief. It's how do you perceive it?
It's self-belief, but it's like, that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, let's say I don't steal, obviously, but if somebody did steal something and they're like, damn, like, I shouldn't have done that, you're probably going to get karma. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that some people in this world can be, I guess you could say, so evil. And this is the part that he doesn't agree with. I feel like some people can be so evil that they get away with certain things because they don't feel bad about it. And they end up getting away with certain shit because they honestly are just pure evil. And I could be wrong, but I don't know. That's one of those things.
So what's the Ali take on that? That those people aren't evil, that they actually are good, but people. I figured the opposite of that would be like that they were just made that way, but then they can be, turned to good.
I think, yeah, kind of. I would say there's always a balance, right? There's always a balance in the world. Like, we don't know. It's a cosmic balance. The universe is like the higher power already set it up like that. So just because the top 1% of the world, there's 2,000 billionaires, right? But there's 99.9% of people that are poor. The money evens out because there's so many, I'm saying, just that's one example. Or someone is, they do something so good, they're so good their whole life, but then they go and shoot somebody. Now they're locked up, they're considered bad. So like everything balances out, what I'm saying? Self balances out, good and evil balances out. Happy, sad balances out. You can't have one without the other. How are you going to know what constantly happy is if you haven't felt sadness before, right? How do you know what positivity is if you haven't felt negativity before? So personally, that's like where we differ, but like, both could be right, both could be wrong. It's just what, we talked about in the book. There's no one right way up the mountain. It's all about what works for you. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. And I want to speak on, or ask you guys about, I in the position that I'm in, starting, a company, have some clients, do my thing. I'm looking to, it's always nice to have a partner, right? It's always nice to have somebody you're accountable with. And I'm in the mastermind group. I have a mastermind group of my own that's 5 or 6 people that, all have startups and things like that. How important was it to you guys to have each other? And would you advise other business owners and entrepreneurs and starting entrepreneurs to have a business partner?
Okay, so this is the crazy thing. We've both had 5 bad business partners before we have each other. So you gotta go through the bad to get to the good, right? Again, that balance. So we're lucky to have each other because there's certain things I'm good at that Shawn doesn't want to do, and there's certain things that he does that he's good at that I don't want to worry about, and I'll let him do it. I'll let him run with it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes personally, like some clients, when we have bigger clients or teams, they don't like talking to me because I'm direct, like I'm straight to the point. Like kind of, I guess, businessy or whatever. And he's a people person, so they'd rather go to Shawn, and he'll communicate it with me. And there's certain times when there's like certain technical things people will ask me, and then obviously we communicate. But then it also works that we have everything. We're 50-50 partner on everything. So the real estate company, the branding firm, and the book, and the course and everything. Even though I might be a face of it at certain points, we're still 50-50 because there's, whether it's funding, whether it's creative control. So it's good to have that person that can hold you accountable. It's good to have that person that bounces ideas off of you. It's good to have that person that kind of lets you build on your strengths while covering your weaknesses. So, but here's the thing, you got to go through those bad decisions, the experiences before you find someone. So don't jump into anything. You got to vet people's energy. You got to see if there's a give and take relationship. You don't want to just someone who's taking. You want someone that gives at the same time. And you don't want to be someone always giving. You want to be able to receive, whether it's criticism, whether it's, help. You got to be able to, again, it's that balance, knowing that there's a bigger picture at play. But the biggest thing, why do we call our company Principles?
I was just going to say that.
Why do we call our company Principles? Because we have the same principles, values, morals, and 99% same goals. His methods might be different, maybe. He might want a yellow Lambo, I might want a black one, what I'm saying? But it's still, what I'm saying? Like, so it kind of works out where we both have a common goal and we're helping each other get there.
And so, I think that's obvious talking to you guys too. And like just the balance between you guys, I could tell your different personalities. I know just from seeing Ali on live for 5 minutes, I was like, okay, I know kind of like what type of personality he is. And then seeing and now talking to both of you guys together, and it's you guys do have a good balance going on socially as well. And I know that definitely helps for the business, but I think that's a perfect transition into what is, obviously Create Your Frequency, the book, but what is the brand? I know you just started the podcast for it too. If you could kind of, go into what's happening now with that, and, what's happening in the future, and then maybe you could touch on the other businesses too later on as well, if you'd like, but.
Yeah, got you. So Principles Creative, it's a branding and consulting company. We both, besides like reading and, basketball and music and food, there's the similarities. We both like marketing and design and fashion and visuals, right? Very important.
So all these things aligned before we met. So when we met each other, we were just kind of talking about things, and I was like, "Man, I found my long lost brother."
It was like, no, you guys didn't have to think about it. Like
I always mention it because like it's a weird thing, but Ali's my first, friend of my race ever in my life. So I just
tell them where you're from.
Yeah,
I'm from New Orleans. I'm from Louisiana. So there wasn't many people who looked like me where I grew up. And obviously I came to Houston, and there is a lot of Middle Eastern people and things like that, but I never hung around that crowd.
What country are you from?
I'm from New Orleans. So I'm from here. I'm from the US, but I'm from Louisiana.
Oh, originally.
Pakistan, yeah. Both of us are Pakistani. So yeah, so when I met him, I was just like, oh, look at this guy. And I was like, he doesn't even look Pakistani. I was like, I like and obviously the music thing was the first thing that lined up. So when he was a fan of my artist, it was like I already knew where his head was at, because you have to be a certain type of person to listen to that type of music in this day and age where there's a lot of BS going around in the music game, right?
I mean, we could go on off about that for a whole podcast for sure. I know I could.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so we both like those same things, and we're like, all right, let's build this company together. And we both tried before and didn't work. So first thing we did is like, all right, what are we good at? What are we not good at? I can do we can do graphic design, we can develop websites, but we're pretty slow. So let's gather a team. So we started gathering a team. Shout out to our boy Klein. That was the first team member, all the way from the Philippines. So the thing is, bro, there's 8 billion people on this earth. There's so much talent, and a lot of people never get the chance because they're not blessed with opportunities. Most people are not worried about what color car they're going to get or what they're going to eat for lunch. They're worried about survival, and so we wanted to partner with someone who has the talent. Remember, in our team, we're not looking for employees. We're looking for talent. I don't want you for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months.
They're not working for you. They're working with you, right?
They're working with, we're all bosses on the team, right? So obviously there's going to be a, structure or system, but everyone has an important role. Without the role, not everyone will succeed. I'll give you an example. We have our designers and developers and lead generators. If the lead generator doesn't close the deal, no one eats. But if the lead generator closes the deal and the designers and developers don't deliver, no one eats. So like we got to be able to facilitate
accountability along. Yeah,
absolutely. So pretty much we built a team. We have 10 people on payroll right now. We have almost 25 that we use. It just kind of varies.
Business question for you: are they freelance, or do you employ them part-time, or?
Yeah, they're all salaried.
They're all salaried. Okay, got you.
Yeah, they're all salaried, and some are contractors, project based.
Got you.
But yeah, our core team is salaried.
That's how I've been running my. I'm using people now, so I'm LLC.
Bro,
I'm gonna LLC it, I think. But
we're doing everything by ourselves. Imagine
Yep.
if you have a team. Now you have 3 minds instead of 1. You have 6 pairs of
I'm
hands.
putting it together, man. I don't do video. I do audio. Audio is my shit. But I create podcast productions that I create. We're doing one that's gonna happen once we can go into people's houses, but we're doing a whole studio in somebody's house. So my friend's a carpenter. All right, dude, you're on project base, 1099 for this. My other boys, 2 videographers. All right, you come in, do the video. I'll handle the audio. You do the lighting in the video. Dude, the collaboration, even at a corporate level, we are the future of business, right? And look at all the collaboration we're doing right now. Like
Absolutely.
the future of everything is collaboration. Like, so I'm just glad. That's a little rant, but I'm glad that you said that.
That's the thing that people don't get. Previously, maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, it was a competition.
Yep.
Oh, how can I outsmart you?
Price competition too, like the dumbest, like the just lowest level form of competition.
Absolutely. Now it's like, how can I capitalize off of you? When we join a strategic partnership with anybody, we have a lot, right? We have a lot of strategic partners, especially since 10X, since Grant Cardone's event. We'll talk about that. We tell people that, hey, milk me of my resources, capitalize on me, whatever you can get it, because I'm gonna do the same with you. We should. Like, hey, do you have a solution for this? Like me and my boy Robert, we go back and forth every day. Hey, do you use VAs for this? Let me see your script. Here, let me see my script. Hey, bro, change this word. Hey, what do you do for this? How are you doing this hashtag? How are you what's your process for onboarding? Like, we're going back and forth.
Right when we connected, bro. Oh, you do podcasts? Sounds good. Yeah, I know we have people that, you need marketing? Sounds good. And there's nothing else. It was just business. This is what we can help each other with. Both make money, both bring each other up. Yep.
There's enough for everyone, bro. That
everybody can eat, dude. Yeah.
Abundance mindset as opposed to scarcity mindset. That's why people who have a scarcity mindset can't fuck with them, because they're always worried as opposed to like excited, Well,
something's always happening to them too. I feel like a lot of times too. I was like, and then that's the excuse for not doing. Well, this happened, so I can't. Like, come on.
You don't want to be with people like that.
You don't make that change. It's gonna keep happening.
Absolutely. You don't learn from it. The universe is gonna repeat that lesson until you learn from it.
Damn.
So yeah. Principles created, bro. Branding consulting company. We went to 10X, learned like some crazy shit. We learned the importance of networking. So now all strategic partners in place, found the right clients.
Can you define, like, I know what a strategic partner is, but like, what's that, but the difference between that and like a partner or somebody or a business? Yeah, sure. Just so people know.
Partner is technically on paper. Me and Shawn are business partners on paper. This is our business. But a strategic partner is someone who you use for strategy's sake that is not necessarily on paper, but you can both eat together.
Okay, that's what I figured. But that's really the next. That's not the next. I mean, it's happening, but that's the best way.
It happens a lot. Exactly. You don't need to have someone on paper, because then it might complicate things and this and that. You do strategic partner based on projects, so they can eat and you can eat. I'll give you an example. Our boy Robert, same thing. He does ads. He used to be Grant Cardone's ads team. That was him. He spearheaded everything. So now we don't do ads. And a lot of people ask us, hey, y'all do branding and marketing. When I say marketing, visual marketing, setting up visuals, website development, landing pages, but y'all don't drive traffic to them? No, that's not our expertise. But guess what? We got Robert. He does this. Y'all talk to him. Strategic partner. Now Robert might do something like, he might add on a branding kit to his project, and then he gives us our cut, and he takes his little percentage commission off the top. So again, strategic partner. And it happens a lot in real estate. We paid for a real estate mastermind last year, and what we did was now we're building our own real estate wholesaling company with our buddy Ron, a strategic partner. And it's our LLC with his LLC, strategic partners. So if we ever wanted to dissolve, if something ever happened, we can dissolve the entity and we're still protected. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So again, there's enough for everyone. It's all about how you can leverage other people's strengths. And
it's not like I can go in our mastermind chat right now and say, hey, listen, I need a design done and I need these ads run. And there's like 8 of you guys who can do that in there. We're still all collaborating, and it's like the competition is it's just not the if you get like, obviously you could get better competing with people, right? Like you want to get that deal or something, but it's not like we're out here trying to outbid each other and shit. Like there's enough, man. Like, but you're right. People have that scarcity, but strategic partners, you put the most emphasis on it out of anybody I've talked to. So that's why I asked.
If someone's an expert, why would you not capitalize on his expertise? Why would Sully go and learn video editing? It might take you 6 months.
What I'm saying. I even tried and I got paid to learn some of it too. And I did some and I can do it. But yeah, it got to a point where I was like, all right, that's it. I can't, I'm not going to learn a new skill.
You said it yourself, bro. Time is the most important thing. Right?
Yep. It really is. It really is.
The thing is, why would you learn it? You should, we're competent in video editing, graphic design, website development, lead generation.
Yeah, if somebody sent me a video right now, it's like, hey, put titles on this. Like, hey, I can do that for sure. Right. But and we can all do that. But yeah. But when it comes down to the professional stuff, like, it's like, have the pros do it. Okay, I'm an audio podcast guy. I can help you strategize and make the audio sound amazing. Okay, perfect. I'll do that part. All right, now I need video to sound amazing or look amazing with lights and everything. All right, video guy does that. Like, that's not something that delegation and they don't teach. Obviously, they don't teach shit in school regardless. But I mean, imagine if they taught any of this shit. Like every podcast I do, I'm like, imagine if they taught anything that we said here.
Imagine if they taught you, credit in school.
I mean, Colin, who I'm so glad we connected with him. And like, I had him on this podcast too. I was like, dude, I mean, what he does is beyond the realm of what normal people, but even what a normal everyday person can do. Credit.
We're learning. Before 1 week before Colin, we partnered with our boy Shawn, who are now strategic partners. Shawn and Colin are strategic.
I guarantee they are. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So then
they came down for the book launch.
They both flew down for our book launch party. So
we connected them and ended up working.
Obviously, if I knew you guys then, I mean, it's all good. I'm there for the next one.
Absolutely, sure. Absolutely. But so strategic partners again, and then what happened was, so we learned credit too. We've been self-funding everything for the last freaking 2 years, 3 years. All your music client, you didn't take credit. We should have.
I wish.
But
I wish I had virtual assistants. I wish I knew about credit.
Absolutely.
Things would have worked out differently.
I think I did an hour with him and then I did the webinar that he did with us for the mastermind. I still don't know enough,
Oh, trust me, we got credit class printed out and like we study it and then we're still learning shit every day. And then we're working with other people that do credit as well to do their brands. And then we're learning. I mean, so the thing is we're using that for all our projects, real estate, all this stuff. So it's all about how you leverage it. You gotta learn and execute, man. So that's very important.
Do you think that the future is? I already kind of touched on this, but like, do you think that the future of business looks a lot more like what we're all doing than what business is doing right now? And like do you imagine the largest companies in the world being able to do this type of collaboration where like everybody's kind of on freelance, everything's digital? You can have strategic part like
it may not show, but they're already in that direction. They're already
it's
doing
like
it.
some of the larger like companies who hire us, and then obviously we have our team over here, so they're freelancing us, and then it's like, yeah, they're already doing that. Instead of having their branding team or having somebody on their team, they just outsource.
It makes no sense to pay somebody $100,000 when you can have 5 people. You can have even 3 or 2.
That was part of our pitch for a client last week. It's like, look, you're paying someone $80,000 a year. We could do it for half that price and triple the quality. You know what I'm saying? And you got a whole team. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, I used to work for a company called You Don't Need a CMO. So there you go.
Don't need a CMO. That's cool.
They're kind of
outsourced CMO?
They're in the tank right now, but not in the tank yet. But they're kind of on the way down. I don't want to say too much about that company, but that was I ran sales for them, and that was the whole thing of like, why would you? But it made perfect sense. Of we have a team of 8 people. Why would you spend $120,000 when you could do it for half, get the same results, and not have all the logistics of somebody in house with a salary? Like the outsourcing, yeah, and the freelance. I mean, are your VAs? Are they foreign? Are they American?
They're all Filipino.
They're
Okay.
mixed, but most of them are Filipino. Yeah. So we've used Pakistan, India, we use Mexican, Colombia. Like for our real estate operation, we have all Colombians because they speak Spanish and English, and it's relatively same time zone. For our graphic designers, most of them are from Philippines. For developers, most of them are from Pakistan or India, so it just depends.
And as we've gained that loyalty and raised our frequency, I feel like at this point, it's because people look at it like, oh man, I've been through so many VAs and a lot of VAs aren't good and they're not consistent and this and that. And at this point, the way that we're running things and the team that we already have, it just seems like everything else is kind of coming together. As we find new people, it just seems to work out. They just seem to be great people and just about it.
And you attract people and people understand in the beginning. It's like obvious. How do you? I'd like to ask you too about like when you're bringing on a team member, like how important is it that they maybe you don't make them read the book, but maybe you have them give them the book, or like how important is it is like vision to you guys? And because some people don't care about it. To be honest with you, I've interviewed people who own the biggest SEO company in the world. I've done the gambit, the biggest PR companies. Everybody has a different. Some people are like, nope, the next 5 minutes is all that matters. Vision doesn't matter. Nope, vision is all that matters. That drives everything. So
absolutely. So our process, everything is structured and systemized. So our process before I interview anybody, it goes through 2 screenings. First, they gotta record a video. They have 7 or 8 questions. They just gotta record a video of themselves talking, answering the questions. I want to be able to see how quickly they can think on their feet, how good of English they speak, if they have passion, if they're, one second.
Cutting the
grass. All right. So sorry about that. But then it goes through a screening process with our executive admin. She interviews everyone, and then it reaches me. And then out of last week we posted a job post. Within 40 minutes we had 56 applications. So we're only gonna hire one.
That makes so much sense. I never even thought about like the video and right, like that's a challenge. Like you might. Unfortunately, which you're probably not gonna, but who knows? You could even miss somebody who just didn't want to do a video who would have been like, but that's the thing. Hey, you got to do the freaking video. Like, that's what I don't understand. The jobs that I've gotten to, like, if they didn't get back, I call the CEO. I message his coworker on LinkedIn. Like, you find a way, right? But you're right. The people that are going to do it are going to do the video, show up. They're going to be,
See, a lot of it has to do with people's, drive too. Like, I'll give you an example. We had one virtual assistant that we no longer work with, but they, we send a couple of bonuses to them and this and that. They were affected by a volcano in the Philippines. There's a volcano going on, and they went to a coffee shop to finish their job. Now that's dedication. You see what I'm saying? I was like, you know what? Like, here's a little bonus. Go figure it out. Don't worry about it right now. But they were not providing any excuses. I had to find out, why is the internet out? Oh, I'm at a coffee shop in this city. I'm like, what are you doing there? Your city's erupting right now. And they didn't give me any excuses. So that's dedication. We want people like that. Because my whole thing is, it's not about having the cheap labor outside. Yeah, that's one component of it. But guess what? Our main guys made more than doctors did last year in the Philippines. So we pay them, we compensate heavy. We have a super badass bonus structure, So it's not about that. It's about giving, people that don't usually get an opportunity to get the opportunity. So this is what I've told.
And when you get it, then you show the fuck up when you get it. And that's what that guy, my man, showed the fuck up.
That's what he said. They're loyal. Our entire team is super loyal to a point where we talk to them 3 times a day. Doesn't matter. We have our main team has switched their schedule, so they're awake during our time. Like it's just crazy.
I ran a few freelancers for one of the companies I was at, and unfortunately, I was at a company with very poor management, poor leadership, and just blind assumptions of like, I don't know how to manage 3 freelancers in 3 different time zones, like effectively. Like I'll try to figure it out, but it's not going to be like you snap your fingers and it works, right? But so I'm glad that you have an important, that's important to you guys, because that's really important to me when I'm working with an organization. Is like, I really have to be tied into the management and the leadership there and make sure it's
Ali always lets them know that we're looking for what do you say? We're looking for
talent, not employees.
Yes, we're looking for talent, not employees. So that's a big thing, right? And then he always lets them know that it's long term. That if you do what you have to do, that we'll take care of you. And then we prove that. If they prove it, we prove it. So it just ends up working out. They end up realizing, okay, these guys are real, and they know that they want to be here for a long time.
So that's why we give that compensation schedule. I also let everyone know, I was like, give me 3 months, give me 90 days. Within 90 days, I'll pay you so much you can quit all your other jobs. That's what we say, and They do exactly that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so even to a point, Sully, we were supposed to be we were gonna go take our team to Bali. We were gonna go to Palawan and Bali. We're gonna go to the Philippines, go meet with our team, and then take them on vacation. We were supposed to be there right now, but COVID messed it up. But it's okay.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, hey, you're gonna adjust, you're gonna adapt. We got to do this podcast, luckily. But
absolutely,
true.
Absolutely.
Hey, you guys are gonna do it next year, 2021, 20 at the end of
as soon as it's over.
Immediately.
With all of Colin's help, we'll be doing it all for
Dude, I mean, for real, with all Colin's help, everybody in that mastermind's gonna be in freaking Hawaii or Bali or whatever. Yeah, so crazy. But hey, listen, I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. I know you guys got multiple companies going on over there. I know you got calls. But before
our next one's at 3:30.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. No. Okay. We'll wind it down. I'll make sure. I want to make sure that you guys touch on anything specific that you wanted to. Because I tried to ask some decent questions, but I know there's probably stuff that you guys are working on that I don't even know about. So.
You did excellent, man. One thing I'm gonna add on to: always be in a growth mindset. Learn from everyone. You can learn from your little brothers. You can learn from your parents. You can learn from a stranger. You can learn from someone close. Old, young, doesn't matter. Go travel, go explore. Well, not now, but when you get a chance, so you can see different perspectives. Read these books because, these people have already been through there and done that, and they've put it together in their notes. So find the focus, develop the focus to read and learn, and use these, YouTube and
this is the
stuff like that
time
while you're at home
to grasp that habit and make that change of something, whatever it may be, a new hobby, a new skill. Reading, meditating, there's no better time than now, right? I think I finally painted my first painting during COVID-19.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Good. I decided to grow out my hair as well. Fuck it.
There you go. That's it, man. If you guys could, you're right. And if you guys could recommend a book, obviously that's, we're recommending your book and throwing it in the show notes. But if there's anything else that, it might be principles, it might be Think and Grow Rich. I'm not sure what it is for you guys, but if you could recommend one each, that'd be great.
Both of those are good.
Both of those are really good. I know the 4 Agreements is one of my favorites.
Haven't read it yet. Okay.
Most recently, the Compound Effect was impressive.
Compound Effect was good. Bro, I used to read a book a week, and now I do like 2 a week with Audible. So I can give you a list of any type of books, but like Think and Grow Rich, definitely get
just finished Think and Grow Rich. That was crazy for me.
It got everything started for me. I think when I was 18, somebody actually showed me The Secret documentary on Netflix, and that's when everything kind of opened up for me, because I always had these dreams and these goals since I was a kid. I never knew how I was gonna get there, and then when I saw that, and I was just like, holy shit! Like, we're this powerful. I didn't know that. And then when you read Think and Grow Rich right after The Secret, it all just kind of comes together, and you're just like, so this is how they did it.
When you know, right? That's like what it is with those, is like when the timing's right too. I read 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, 3.5 years ago. I'm using it now. I barely even used anything back then, but I'm using it now. Like even things like 48 Laws of Power, another one. But you're not going to use you're not going to use those. You're going to use those in the next 60 years, but you don't know when. But
just honestly, like there's so many books, like Art of Influence. You got Atomic Habits. You got
Impact Theory is a huge thing for us now. Tom Bilyeu's.
Tom Bilyeu. Yeah, he's one of those people that's my goal to interview. So yeah, I love Quest Bar. His entire story is.
His show is just
wow. Yeah, and you're right.
The people that he interviews, I mean, I don't even have to say it. You'll see it when you look it up. You'll see it, and you'll know.
He's a crazy business example too of the decisions he was making, and yeah, man, that's great. And you guys are kind of doing a little like your podcast. Like me and Ali were talking about it first thing when we spoke on Instagram, but it was like, that you guys are, that's gonna be something, man. I mean, it already is, but like, what's your? I wanted to know about kind of what's your goals for that. Just now that I remembered.
We want to interview the dopest motherfuckers on the planet. That's the goal. And nothing too crazy where like we make it so it's out of the way to go do that. It's just people like, Colin, like yourself, like people that we're working with. We want to just have them on the guest and same thing, tell their story, everyone can talk about how they created their frequency. What does that mean to them? So on every show, we have like 6 or 7 episodes recorded. The next one comes out next week. It's just we're wrapping up some projects. Also, on that note, diversify, guys. Whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. I don't care what, if you want to be a freaking professional, scuba diver, go do it. Don't let anyone stop you. Find it in your time and your schedule, because everyone has the same 24 hours, 168 hours a week. Go do it, man. There's no point in half-assing life. So just go do everything you wanted to do. Create a system. Go try new things. Screw up. Learn from it. Find a mentor. Find a partner. All that stuff. Because you only get. How old are you, Sully?
21.
21. All right. So in our talks when we were speaking to colleges, we kept saying, all right, so the average human. Let's just say the average human. We talked about the averages of each country. But let's just say the average human age is 75 years old. That means you have 27,365 days to live. 27,000, right? So if you're 25, 1/3 of your life is gone. You have 18,000 days left to live. So what are you going to do with those 18,000 days? And that goes back to your thoughts on time. You don't have too much time. Don't spend it wasting it. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you do all these things where, to help you take your life to the next level. So capitalize on every day. So that's
powerful, Ali. Powerful, both of you guys. Tell people where you can find you on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you got, your brand. Obviously Amazon. I'll link it all in the show notes so it's easy too.
Absolutely, yeah. Create Your Frequency. You should be able to find it everywhere. Instagram. His is Create with an 8. Create Your Frequency. Podcast. Spotify, Apple, Amazon. The book. There's an ebook for, I think it's $2.99 right now. So go ahead and get it. You can buy it and you play it on your phone. Working on the Audible. The Audible is not done yet, but once it's done, you can listen to an audio. It's
are you guys reading it, or when are you guys
reading?
Yeah,
we're reading.
Okay, yeah, that's dope. I love that. I love when the people read it.
And stuff, and it's cool.
I'm gonna write a book just so I can read my own book and have one. I don't care about the physical copy. Thank you guys so much.
No problem. Take care, buddy.
For hopping on here. I really appreciate it. Another episode of BopCast on the books with my boys Ali and Shawn from Create Your Frequency. Thank you guys so much for hopping on today. I appreciate it.
Take care. All right, guys. Vibrate higher.